Hey guys, Lytane here. Thank you for checking out this video, liking, subscribing, and commenting, doing all those social things. It is really awesome and it truly means a lot to me. Do you know what's also awesome? Nostalgia. Everybody's nostalgic for something. That's just who we are as a human race. And do you know what is really trendy at the moment? To cash in on that nostalgia. To revive things of 20, 30 years ago and make it brand new. So today I want to have a look at the latest thing that is nostalgic and new at the same time and see if Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling is worth it. Rocko's Modern Life was a Nickelodeon show that was released in 1993 and it ran for 4 seasons. This is one of the very first TV shows that I ever reviewed on my channel. You should go check it out. It's a little cringeworthy and the quality isn't super great, but it is where I started, so yeah, go have a look. Anyway, the show ended in 1996 and over 20 years later, it has come back as a short film. Released on Netflix on August 9, 2019, this movie is a direct sequel to the cartoon series that it is based on. The second to last episode of the show, Season 4, Episode 12, has a story called Future Schlock, which was supposed to be the last episode of the show run. At the end of the episode, there's a rocket inside of Rocko's house and he is shot into space. That is where this movie picks up. Rocko has been stuck in space with Heffer and Filburt, his best friends, for the last 20 years. All of those questions you might have, like how does it stay up there? Where have they been circling? How do they breathe? How are they surviving? Will not be answered, so don't ask. To keep them sane, they have been watching a single VHS tape, because they're from the 90s, of the Fatheads. This is a show within a show that is in this show that was on the previous show, and I just wanted to say show so many times and it's super confusing, but it totally makes sense. But today is the day that their VHS breaks, and oh my god, they just can't deal with it. But luckily for them, this is when they find a remote for the rocket that has been inside Heffer's butt for the last 20 years. They push the button and re-enter Earth, only to find that it has evolved into a satire of the world of today. Rocko, though, has a hard time and he can't adjust, so he has this idea of reviving a show from the 90s as a special. A little meta. But can he do it? What has happened to the characters that we know from the last show? What goes round and round? And most importantly, how many references are there in this movie? The first thing I have to mention is how authentic all of this is. I know, a little strange, right? But when so many TV shows and movies and games get rebooted or renewed or brought back, a lot of the original creative team are not present when the remake or reboot, whatever, happens. Like in the new Aladdin film, Mina Massoud was not the Aladdin from 1992. And you might say that's a pretty extreme example. One's a cartoon and one's a live action, so of course they had to change it. Okay, fair. But in the Lion King remake, none of the voice actors, except for James Earl Jones, reprise their roles. And that is because Disney wanted to do something different. And there's nothing wrong with doing something different and getting new people, especially if like some people have passed away or if you just want to upgrade it and change it in certain ways. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Instead of like a cash grab just trying to play on the brand name and the recognition of the nostalgic properties of the TV show or whatever that they're basing on, this one shows that they have a little bit more love and care into it because they tried to get all the people back. So Tom Kenny of SpongeBob fame is back. Carlos Alazraqui, who was Mr. Crocker on Fairly Odd Parents, is also here. Even Charlie Adler, who has literally been in 1 million different things, has reprised his role. Even Joe Murray, the original creator for the show, returns. Because of all of this returning talent, they made the show in a way which is very similar to the show that they used to make in the 90s, though it has evolved in some aspects in order to fit today's audience. One natural evolution is the animation, because instead of it being all hand-drawn, it is now done on computers. Because of that, the show looks very, very clean. There's a lot less artifacts, there's a lot more going on in what's happening in the foreground and the background, and I get a bit of a disconnect at times. It's a little hard to find examples because it was just something that I saw every now and then, where the foreground characters just felt a little bit out of the background. It didn't feel like they quite fit in well. Maybe that's a shading thing, or maybe that's like a shadows thing. I'm not sure, but that's like the only real criticism I really have for the animation, is that sometimes they just didn't gel well with the surroundings. And that's because I have pretty much nothing but praise for this animation. They really captured the essence that was the original show. The zany antics, the wacky animation, the gross out humor, and the over-the-top reactions are all there. Then we also have a crazy amount of references in the movie. I'll be honest with you, I have seen a lot of the episodes many times in the last 20 years, and there is no way that even I got all of the references, because I'm pretty sure they referenced everything. At the start of the movie, we have references to the Jackhammer episode, the Food That Came Alive episode, the Choky Chicken, which is the uncensored version, which I found funny, and so on, and this is just the start of the film. It is prevalent through the whole thing, and nearly every scene has something referencing a previous episode in the background or the foreground. The story for the episode was also very relevant and up to date. It talks about nostalgia and our wanting of change, and also our wanting to keep things the same, which is exactly what Rocko's Modern Life movie was all about. It's very meta in that way. One of my favorite jokes was when they go to the movies and they see the new really big man movie. Now he's this fun, silly, crazy character that has like nipples that do different things. It's pretty silly. But now he's in this dark and gritty film and he talks like this because he's like a Batman now. It's really dumb, but I appreciate that joke. They even work in a trans storyline, which is a little bit of a controversy for this movie, but I think they handled it very well. The part that I thought was really funny is that our three main characters, who are people stuck in the 90s, are all like, okay, you're a woman now. That's cool. There was no fuss, no over-the-top reaction, no humor thrown at it at all. It was a grounded and very serious moment in a wacky show, and I appreciate it for what it was doing. They also show a character not coping so well with this change, and it's hard, but it's also something that happens in this world. That one does have a little bit more humor, and it's still trying to be serious, but it does have a little bit more of that wacky side to it. One of the key ideas of the original show is that it would have really normal, mundane and boring situations like going and buying a dog bowl or cleaning the house or trying to get some sleep, and then they would take these ideas to the absolute extreme, and most of the times it didn't even make any sense, but you just go along with the ride. The whole episode has that kind of idea with all the satire of modern day life, but it's not nearly as fleshed out as it used to be, where the show would have a 12-minute episode dedicated to one idea most of the time. This one is a 45-minute movie that is dedicated to a lot of different ideas. Because of that, none of the jokes are really fleshed out and none of the ideas are taken to the absolute extreme as it once would have been in the TV show. By the end of the episode, I was honestly a little exhausted at how high energy this movie is. It was still interesting and I thought it was fairly funny, but I would have liked this to have been shorter. The other thing is that there are so many references here, and that too can be a little bit exhausting. There's just too many of them. The other criticism I have is that I really did not like the setup to the film. I understand that this is silly and meant to be played for laughs, but it was a little bit too unbelievable. I had a lot of questions, like how did they survive? Why did Heffer never take off his pants and see the remote in the 20 years they were up there? How come no other character ever saw his butt in 20 years? It all felt really forced in order to keep them off the earth for so long, which I get because they had to do that for all of these jokes and ideas to be set up, but it should have started better. Even having the remote lost in the couch cushions probably would have been enough for me, because that is something relatable and it would mean that they just never checked the couch in 20 years, so that could have worked better. In my opinion, Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling is worth it, and even after 20 years it still feels like a movie-length version of an episode. That same wackiness is here, that zaniness, that over-the-top reactions, the fun, the high energy, and the screaming, and all the characters really feel like they came from the TV show. And they did, because it is the same creative team, it is the same voice actors, and because of all of that, it just feels authentic. If you really liked the show, or even had some kind of like for the show, there's a good chance that you will like the movie, because it feels like that TV show. This movie's also been getting a little bit of flack because of the trans storyline that is present in the last little bit of the film. And to those people, I just say, are you idiots? Just grow up. I can't believe that people are giving this movie a 1-2 star review because they're like, oh, it was great until the trans storyline came out and now I hate it. Like, oh my god, just grow up. I personally thought it was handled in a very good way, and I liked the inclusion of it. I didn't think it was like forced, I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was really well done, and I enjoyed the fact that there is a little bit more of a trans recognition in today's society, and using a 90s cartoon and handling it in a good way just shows how far we have come in the last 20 years. So guys, tell me what you thought about Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a good revival of a cartoon series, or did you not think so? Did you catch all the references in the movie? I, for one, definitely did not, because there's like a million. There's even a joke in the news presentator section when they're doing the news at the bottom. It says, people are missing key points of the plot because they're looking in the background for jokes, and I'm like, you guys are good. See what you did there. Because of that, I was having a bit of fun with all of the references, but like I said, it was a little bit exhausting because they're just absolutely everywhere. It's really, really silly. But anyways, don't forget to write down in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about it, and don't forget to cycle subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Carlos Alazraki? The zany antics. Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life. That was a horrible version of that song. I'm sorry, but now the song's stuck in my head. Thanks to this movie.